All right, so 2K, NBA 2K, 2K Sports, they dropped some more next gen gameplay. It's actually the courtside report number 2. I have videos equipped with information that I'm about to dish out to you guys. But before I get into it, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you ain't already subscribed, and turn post notifications on. Now, let's get right into it. And this article will be posted in the description below so you can read the article yourself if I'm going too fast or if you don't fully understand what I'm talking about. Okay, we go to next gen movement. There is nothing more exciting for a developer than the arrival of new consoles. Every new generation gives us the opportunity to step back and reimagine how we can push the sports gaming genre forward. If I had to pick one aspect of gameplay that's probably benefited the most from the jump to the next gen, the answer will probably have to be on-court locomotion. Movement is the foundation for a solid basketball game. That when that foundation isn't solid, a lot of aspects of the game fall apart. We put a lot of resources toward improving locomotions with and without the ball, and I'm excited how far it's come to kick off year 1 of the next generation of 2K hoops. So we're going to get right into it. Dribble movement. The dribbler was rebuilt from the ground up for next gen, and the difference is night and day. We retain a concept of signature dribble styles that were introduced a couple years ago, but otherwise everything was scrapped and re-archetyped, bringing a completely different feel with the ball in your hands for next gen. I'm gonna skip through that because basically I think it's something we already covered in the last one. I'm gonna get right into defense and off ball. All non-dribbling movement from on-ball defense to off-ball offense and defense is run by our motion engine, which is in its 3rd year of development. The motion team has been working tirelessly to bring a next-gen improvement to moving without the ball, and it both looks and feels fantastic. Here are some of the upgrades that stand out. As you can see in the video clip, I'm going to talk about the video clip once I get finished with this. It says unique conceptual moments, motion assessed for various basketball situations, transition stops, leak out, guard break, anchor, space perimeter, bringing an awareness to the look of the players on the floor and give them more life. Improved pathing, cuts, and stops make defenders feel more grounded and fix a lot of sliding from the previous generation. Overall improvement to motion stability and response. In other words, we smoothed out the twitchiness, and players can be more accurately follow exactly what you're doing on the sticks. Okay, that's great. So whatever you do on the sticks, you're automatically going to be able to do with your player, or it's going to show with your player, which is great. Updated player size detection logic and greater emphasis on player differential. I'll leave it at that. Bigs move like bigs and guards move like. Okay, see, this is stuff they covered last time. Yeah, this is a lot of stuff that was covered last time on the thing, but it's good that they smoothed it out there. 'Cause I know a lot of people was having complaints about sliding on defense, so there you have it. Now that that's all altered and fixed. And the next thing we're getting into is foot planting. As you can see by the video clip, sliding in basketball is no good, but it's sometimes we've had to live with in the past because of limitations in technology. I'm happy to say that the next gen version of NBA 2K21 takes a huge leap in that department. Our engineers rewrote our foot planting tech from scratch, and it led to one of the most striking visual improvements when you compare next gen to previous generation. Players can now take procedural steps instead of sliding their feet when they need to make micro adjustments. I love seeing proper footwork as players are making hard cuts, accelerating, stopping, even just standing and making subtle movements in place. It just brings 2K hoops one more step closer to real life. We have the body ups. There's our internal name for all the interactions between the ball handler and defender. It's always a tricky balance trying to accurately model the cat and mouse game between the offense and the defense. Our goal with body ups was to highlight the improvements that we were able to make to both dribbling and defensive movement. To that end, it meant less canned interactions and doing a better job respecting user control. I think the next gen version NBA 2K21 strikes a great balance between rewarding taking proper driving angles and respecting contact. Attempting to drive headfirst directly into a defender will stop them in their tracks, lead to charges or force pickups. When ball handlers get to the hip of the defender but the defender matches well, it will lead to more realistic rides that neither player will feel stuck in. And on the other extreme, slow-footed or slow to react defenders will be punished with blow-bys, and if they try to force the contact too late, might get hit with a blocking foul. Strong ball handlers can also hard stop out a ride and crab defenders more effectively, so it's not always about speed when trying to probe into the paint. The logic for the types of resolutions that play out is much more robust and takes into account every little detail you can think of. The end result is a better one-on-one game that more accurately mirrors in the real NBA. Okay, which it's pretty cool, but as you can see, it's like a standard charge. So we had to wait and get our hands on the gameplay to actually see how, you know what I'm saying, how fluid and how smooth it is. The next one is off-ball contact. Just like with body ups, we wanted to translate those same principles off-ball. The motion team completely reworked the off-ball contact system, which now features everything from let's throughs, accidental contact to hard collision. There is a great freedom of movement when you're working away from the ball, but also realistic contact when it's called for, all with no snatching or sliding. My favorite aspect of these collisions can be seen in the new screen interactions. Gone are the vacuum screens that have plagued basketball games in the past, where defenders would pull into a screen collision and run in a direction they weren't asking to. You can reject screens appropriately, go over or under as you would expect, and die on a screen if you have a weak defender trying to barrel through a big. It also looks great, but more importantly feels great for both the offense and defense to get the outcomes that make sense in such an important aspect of the team. Now, what they mean by this is, you know how you would try to go around the screen, but you'll still get clipped by the screen, and the screen will automatically choose which way your player goes. Like, it'll choose if your player gets screened, it'll choose if your player is going right or left. I guess when you hit the screen, you have the ability to choose which way you want your player to go, whether you want your player to run left or right. I guess they give you that ability to do that in this next gen. The next thing we have is the impact engine. Now, one of the biggest challenges we face when balancing offense and defense is contact in the paint. As you can tell with next gen, we really stress the importance of respecting user control and not wrapping defenders into place for the sake of game balance. But it's vital to be able to have reliable contact, especially for protecting the basketball. In order to prevent bloated points in the paint for NBA 2K21 Next Gen, we developed a new in-air contact shot system that will internally called the impact engine. The goal was to completely remove the snatching that we've been using in the past games and resolve collisions on the fly as players hit each other in midair. The impact engine and next gen console power gives us the flexibility to do just that. By creating reliable contact with players are in flight, we no longer have to take control of defenders while they're on the ground and pull them into place just to force certain outcomes. This will be most noticeable for paint defenders, as they'll have the freedom to maneuver their players in position and make a play on the ball themselves, rather than the game dictating what happens based on whatever animation happens to trigger. To further aid paint defense, the logic that goes into block targeting was improved, and we're using IK more heavily now to get the hand to track the ball, as well as minimize clipping. One of the main beneficiaries of the new game is that we now have contact alley-oop and put back dunk-ons for the first time in 2K, which looks sick and feel rewarding when when you can pull them off. Now, with that being said, you see the clip of Dwight Howard and all that. Now, I think what they mean by that, they mean that, you know how in order to get like a contact dunk animation, there has to be a defender in the paint, or it has to be a defender somewhere on the court to where you can get the contact dunk animation. So I guess now they don't have to force a defender to be in a certain spot on the court in order for the offensive player to get that contact dunk animation. I guess you on the defense, you have more control over everything. So it seems like you're not going to be locked into a contact dunk animation how you are on right now how you are on NBA 2K21 on current gen and previous 2Ks, how when somebody would come and try to posterize you lose all control over your player. You can't jump, you can't do any of that. I feel like with this generation and what they just explained with next gen, you have the ability to actually jump and try to, you know what I mean, you may get caught in the animation, but you still have the ability to move your player around and try to block the shot, if that makes sense. We have the PS5 Trigger Effect. Sometimes something that always excites us as developers is the introduction of new hardware features that come along with new consoles. When we first heard about the PlayStation 5 adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, we immediately began brainstorming ways to use them to enhance the gameplay experience. As soon as we got our hands on the dev kits, our lead engineer experimented with several different prototypes to figure out what made the most sense for a basketball game. For adaptive triggers, we opted to use them to convey energy/fatigue. As you move around the court, you'll feel more and more resistance on the sprint trigger as your player's energy drains. We also use adaptive resistance in the post game. Strong post players will feel very little resistance on L2 when backing down weaker opponents, but you'll have to use more force to pull L2 when it's the other way around. It's very interesting to play with and helps immerse you into the experience of actually being on the basketball court. As for haptic feedback, we used it to our various collision systems: box out, body up rise, off ball collisions, deny/rise. Basically, any situation where players make a significant contact will vibrate the controller at various intensities depending on the strength of the players involved and the severity of the impact. It's so dope to feel the difference in your hands between a grazing bump and a hard hit. It's also a great reinforcement tool to understand when you're making players work too hard on the court, which could hit their energy/stamina levels and potentially cause wear and tear on their bodies with our in-depth injury system. Okay, so that's basically it. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have more to do. They're gonna have more gameplay stuff, because I know it says make sure to check out next week's final gameplay courtside report as I reveal details about player builds, badges, takeover and improvements to AIs. So I'll be dropping that video next week once this article drops. But like I said, the article's in the description. It kind of feels like the stuff in this game it's more user oriented, more hands-on. Like in a way, 2K17 was a lot more user oriented. You had more full control of your player instead of it just being the typical animation based game. Because ever since NBA 2K18, 2K has just made their games animation based. Everything's based around animations, meaning that animation overthrows a user. And so I think with this new technology, they have space to make it to where you can still get those animations, still get locked in those animations, but the user always overthrows the animation as far as defense wise, and you have more control of your player. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section below. You know, I like the comment section. I'll be down there responding, liking, and debating with you guys. And I'm Wallz Production. I'm out.